Hi, DJ here. Lots of rare content coming up. And have you ever wanted advice on performing under a mask in Star Wars? This lovely lady gives her advice, so stay till the end and please subscribe if you'd like to see even more Star Wars interviews. We're back in the UK and very delighted to have with us Ailsa Berk. Hello.
Hello, it's very nice to be here.
And it's taken us about 40 years, 4 decades to find you. You haven't been in public eye too much over the years.
No, I did a period of time when I did several conventions, and then I just decided to give it a break.
Yep.
And I had a couple of signings where people bought things to me, and then the opportunity came up when Paul contacted me about today, and I thought, yes, that sounds a really interesting, nice convention. Yes, please, I'd love to do it.
And it's fantastic for the fans to actually hear your voice because you were stuck inside which costume?
I was in Amanaman all those years ago.
Did you have any idea before you actually went to the shoot about what you'd be stepping into, what it looked like?
No, we went along to West London on a Saturday morning. There were people from the Star Wars team there, and they were looking for performers who could fit in the costumes that were based in England. And a group of us who all knew one another went along, and it was like, yes, you'll fit in that costume, okay. Yes, you'll fit in that costume. And then we found ourselves at Elstree Studios and being put into the costumes.
So was it like a fittings day or trial of all, what you can actually get into, what you can fit inside?
I think it was mainly, as far as I can remember, it was more of an assessment, looking at us, yes, you're the right height. No, you're not too broad. You'll fit into that costume, okay.
Amanaman, hard to say sometimes, but how did you fit inside it?
That's an interesting one. The back opened up.
Yep.
You climbed in the back. Your hand went up into the head area.
Wow.
The face was actually in the lower part here of the neck. The head was moved with the hand in this, working like this. They would open the flap when they were setting up the shot,
yeah,
and you'd see the shadows going across. Oh, you see the person walking across, and then when they shut the flap, you just sort of had to try and remember and hope that there was a little shadow or something. And below the stage was a puppeteer, Simon Williamson,
yep,
on a monitor, who controlled the rod arms.
Right.
So that was basically how Amanaman functioned.
How long were you actually inside there, locked inside that suit, or even for rehearsals or watching other people? How long was the shoot for you?
We were never kept in the costumes too long.
Okay.
It was very fair, very nicely done. I think we were out at Elstree in total about a month on that particular,
yeah,
scene of Jabba's palace, and we had it was a very good time and a very good experience.
There's also like a promotional picture where most of the Jabba creatures are all in one shot. Were you there for that one too?
Do you know, I'm going to have to check that. I think I was.
And how many different scenes were there with Amanaman in the background?
There were quite a few, because there was towards the stage area with the Han Solo image, and then we were along one side over here for one group of scenes, and so it was really that side there towards the stage and over here on the other side. So it was several passes and several takes and setups.
And I think there's some of you as Amanaman in the very deep background. In fact, it's very dark. You're in these little alcoves, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Who were you teamed up with in there?
In those scenes, well, I had Simon below the set.
Yep.
With the monitors. So wherever I was placed, there had to be a platform area,
Right,
which could conceal underneath,
yep,
the puppeteer and the rods. So that was one of the facts that came into play, was where a man could be placed,
yes,
so that the two of us could actually operate.
It's one of the bigger costumes in Star Wars too, isn't it?
I suppose it probably is. I think probably Phil Herbert's one is even larger. Some of the others were much more manageable and maneuverability.
Was it heavy for you at all?
No, the costume wasn't heavy. It was pretty solid. It was sort of a foam. And the heat, no, the time of the year, it wasn't that. No, it wasn't bad.
Now, talking about some of the other characters just around you, there was the Squid Head, Brian Wheeler, the Jawa. Did you get to chat and become friends with those people?
Yeah, it was Gerald Hume that was
Gerald,
in Hume.
that's right.
Yeah, I'd known Gerald for years.
Yeah,
I think-
dear man.
Yeah, I'd known him for years, and it was very nice because we'd worked together. There was Paul Springer, there was Andy Cunningham, there was Phil. We sort of Tim Dry. We all knew one another, so it was a very nice time working together on that project.
Now, we know that George Lucas wasn't actually the director for Return of the Jedi. It was Richard Marquand. But did you have much to do with GL? Was he around set quite often?
There was one instance with George. We were on this side, and the Amanaman costume was sat down, believe it, in quite an awkward position. Mm-hmm. And suddenly a voice said to me, "Can you sit up a little bit more?" And I sat up. It was afterwards I discovered it was Lucas. I didn't know he was behind me at that time.
Could you hear okay? Did you have hearing aids in or something like that to assist?
No. We didn't have anything. But when the face area was opened in between, you could hear quite well. And it wasn't that muffling. It was okay.
And what about working with Richard Marquand? Did he direct your scenes?
He was the overall director. Yeah. And yes, it's the answer to that one.
And so you were there for 1 month roughly for your shoot.
Yes.
Did you get to observe Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill?
Yes, when they came on, and for me, when the front went closed, of course I didn't see anything, so it was quite interesting for the rehearsals to be able to actually see them and not just be sort of listening and to know where we were in the scene.
And what did you observe of those lead stars?
I suppose it was the first time I'd ever worked on a Hollywood or American-based film like that. So it was very interesting just to see how they approached and how they interpreted and related.
And what are you doing these days, Ailsa?
Well, still much the same thing, but I'm no longer inside costumes. I'm now, I train people outside the costumes, choreograph the movement for different creatures. So I'm outside now, no longer inside.
Still in the film industry?
Still in the film industry, still doing the same sort of thing, yes.
Any message for Star Wars fans or any story you'd like to share?
Do you know, I think just always enjoy. You just have fun and enjoy. And do your work, but just don't get too wrapped up about it, if you know what I mean.
Sure, and there's so many more Star Wars projects to come. What would you recommend for people that want to become a supporting artist or work with creatures?
That is a very interesting one. Basically, to try and get put up for a job where you can get the experience to work in a costume situation, because it's a different technique to work with a mask on or with limitations on movement and so forth. So the more you get to try out these things, the better it is to be able to take on something that might be a little bit more awkward.
Well, it's been great having words with you today. Ailsa Berk, great to meet you.
Thank you.